You see a set of tattered curtains blocking the way to another room. A strange cage-like trinket dangles from the curtains. You see a dimly lit room full of dusty furniture and trash. A doorway stands in the back, covered in dozens of scary little Seminese wards, your shadow looming over it like an omen.
Oh!
A heavy door with a missing handle stands before you, covered in dozens, if not hundreds, of Seminese trinkets and charms. It appears to be locked. After exerting some force, you manage to turn the key. It's eerily silent. The door slides slightly open, letting a draft of cold air into the room. You feel the tiny hairs on the back of your neck rise up, as if someone's standing right behind you. Outside, the wind howls in from across the bay. The building at Rue de Saint-Ghislain stands like a matchbox on its side, with men inside like little wooden sticks ready to catch fire. A panicking woman squeezes the pendant around her neck until it leaves a mark inside her palm. A man, a few meters away, stands frozen with a key in his hand. Somewhere inside, a spider is spinning its web. A barbell lies on the floor. The color has worn off its weight plates. It's 60 kilograms. Your triceps hum at the sight of these weights. Show the world what kind of beast it's dealing with. Lift them. There are no collars on the barbell. This is a safety hazard. The barbell waits patiently. The barbell waits patiently on the floor, like a dog for its master. Conjuring up an inhuman amount of strength, you raise the barbell up in the air. Your biceps tremble, but you're a savage. This is a children's game. A warm wave of accomplishment washes over your head as you drop the barbell to the floor. Your flashlight slides over an old green chalkboard covered in scribbles, sketches, and schemes like some ancient cave mural. Some of the writing has faded with age, but you can still make out sections here and there. Photos and drawings have been pinned to the board. These lithe, pointy-eared creatures appear to be different types of welkins. You make out autumnal candle welkins casting wax-based magic. Translucent welkins with organs shining under their skin, and even ether welkins hailing from the vast emptiness of sidereal space. You should adopt one of those welkins as your persona. No longer a mere man, but a welkin. One of the welkins, towering among the rest, appears to be different, however. It's Vara Hamira, a high welkin, his face white and scarred like cracked marble. This is clearly a welkin supremacist. The note says, all non-welkin races will be purged. The Haldor, the Twarg, the humans, and even headless men, all of them, purged. Imagine a world filled only with welkin. Green welkin, dread welkin, and the high welkin to rule them all. Your eyes glide over 4 sections of the imposing green chalkboard. The photo collage depicts barren, icy landscapes wrapped in perpetual night. You see permafrost and glacial landforms, dead trees grown in under the snow. Entire oceans have been frozen from shore to shore. There are pictures of settlements on dried-up riverbeds, abandoned in a storm. Animal corpses in the dark, carcasses and bones. You see primitive oil rigs built into glaciers, boreal dvorg, yurts under the snow, great mammoth-like beasts of burden. Albeit dark and cold, this vision also feels cozy in its own way, like eggnog or morphine, a much-needed respite from our own world. A pinned postcard reads, "The heat death scenario, a desperate fight for geothermal energy engulfs the world as Wirral becomes untethered from its sun, drifting through the universe." This is a monthly calendar from the year 50. Cryptic words like sprint, daily minimi, and GPI span the marker-drawn grid, the grand scheme of production and money. Everyone is constantly teetering on the edge of the abyss, an abyss of production. These squares look orderly, but beneath them is chaos, worry, pain. Minimi stands for a mini-meeting. It's part of a bigger framework for managing work called RUN. Station 41 tried to implement it a few years ago, but failed. As time goes on, The numbers in the boxes grow rarer and rarer. The board becomes an empty snowfield in the final days. Only failure and regret dwell in this region. A note in the bottom left corner of the chalkboard says, "See the prod schedule filament for details." The handwriting is only partly legible, but you can still make out 3 slogans: "Call in, tune out," "Wirral untethered," and "Heat death of the universe." Outside, a cold wind wraps the building in its bosom. Snowflakes in the wind. An old woman passes what the locals call the doomed commercial area. She tries hard not to look at the bookstore windows. It's unwise. Your flashlight, some of the writing has faded. A dusty radio computer sleeps on its wired frame, forgotten and unused. Its keyboard has a rectangular on-off button. A piece of paper still hangs from the printer. This is the Ream Civic radio computer, model RC5120. Equipped with a Feld mainframe and a Ream-compatible printer. The machine lights up like some prehistoric animal stirring from its slumber, revealing fluorescent play and print keys on the keyboard. The hatch on the machine's central compartment is wide open. It's empty like a beehive without its brood. Some cables have been left dangling. Disconnected. The filament you have would fit perfectly inside the compartment. Like a smooth draw, the filament slides into place. On the keyboard, the play key starts blinking. The speaker comes to life. Static seeps through the machine's planar magnetic driver. An old lady greets you. Her voice sounds 100 years old.
Good afternoon. Fortress accident en rue de Saint-Ghislaine. This is East Insulindian Rapid Station 1. Please repeat. Is this the production schedule? Good, thank you. Please repeat. Is this the production schedule? Good. Please repeat the password. Good. I've unlocked the production schedule. After ending the call, please press print to access the filament. Fortress accident. Is there anything else I can do for you today? Thank you, and goodbye.
Tiles on the cube are still smoldering, casting the framework in a soft glow. Fluorescent play and print keys shine on the keyboard. With a quiet determination, the printer starts printing, a piece of paper unfolding like a handheld fan. A black crisscross of letters covers its surface. It's a project report written by the lead producer, Andrew "Andy" Schott, about Wirral Untethered, a radio game developed by Studio Fortress Accident. The first few pages give an overview of the capital and workforce, while the rest of it seems to be a production schedule. In its short time of existence, Fortress Accident SCA managed to burn through truly insane amounts of money. The first tranche of seed financing brought in 150,000 Riyal, but then came the delays. Eventually, the damage reached 400,000 Riyal, with only half of the game finished. $400,000 You're my yo. These guys knew how to party. Let's just say it was a real adventure for their Igaunian investor. Fortress Accident employed 18 people, the bulk of the team composed of writers and concept artists. There were also radio programmers, sound engineers, a CEO, 2 marketing experts. And a single overburdened producer who developed a habit of popping Pyrrolidon in the basement to escape his obligations. But on the other hand, their obligations were piling up at an inhumane rate, a rate that could only be amended by Pyrrolidon. The production schedule depicts their glorious descent into bankruptcy. It was impossible not to fail. The project was too large, and no amount of money could satiate the ever-expanding ambitions of the development team. They tried to make a 4 million Riyal game with 400,000 in their bank account. They thought they could bridge the gap with pure willpower and imagination. They couldn't. No, even then, success remained within an ever-narrowing margin of possibility that, despite everything, never entirely disappeared. That is, until they discovered the Valley of the Heads. No, it was good. Too good. At the 11th hour, the lead designer, Jimsk-born Suliswaf Jalisa, decided that what Wirral Untethered needed was a secret mystical location at the extreme edge of the map. This place was to be the Valley of the Heads, where the heads of all the headless constructs could be found. The player would have been able to choose a head for their headless party member, and each head would have been voiced on air by a professional actor. The world had never seen their kind before, and might never again. So many. The last count, there were approximately 10,000 heads for 10,000 headless men, all of which could be endlessly recombined. Do you really want to know? There seems to be a calculation here, but it may take a while. What if you broke the radio computer? What if it's never going to stop? Well, yeah, that and the catastrophic data loss. On the nature of the data loss, there's ominously little information in the production log. It comes at the very end where things get fuzzy and dark, where tables and numbers seem to vanish into an eerie nothingness before the Egonian investors pulled the plug. What is clear is that one day an unidentified numeric anomaly occurred on the East Insulindian Lintel front, just as the Wirral Untethered project was being compiled that day. When the project was returned, it was completely blank. The team spent weeks on the phone with Lintel, the service provider, but despite their diagnostics, they could never produce a satisfactory explanation or pay for the loss. Always read the terms of service. Mysteriously enough, it seems that the off-site copy happened to be on-site when the catastrophic data loss occurred. It was the lead programmer's responsibility to oversee weekly maintenance of the off-site copy and, well, keep it off-site. An explanatory note from the lead programmer has been attached. S. Luukinen Kilda, the lead programmer of Fortress Accident. The off-site copy was on-site because there was no off-site anymore. Not for me, not after 8 months of crunch. I didn't have a home anymore, so I started keeping it in the basement in the ice bear refrigerator near where I went to sleep. It was perfectly safe there. The temperature conditions were optimal. That's not what her colleagues thought. The production schedule ends with a few random notes that seem to be added sometime later. "4 months later, by an unknown author. I am the only one left, and it's gotten rather damp here. A few other businesses have gone under too. Slipstream switched to making skis, and the hairdressers just left, cursing Martinez. They're right though. Something's seriously wrong with this place. Martinez, all of it." Still haven't got an answer from Lintel about what happened. All I could get were the physical coordinates of the error on the East Insulindian front on that day. Since the computation happened on air, I reckoned it had to coincide with an actually existing location. I have compared the coordinates to a map of Revachol West. Turns out it's only 800 meters from here. The address is Saint-Brun 1147. I am going there to look this thing in the eye. Saint-Brun 1147? That's what the street sign next to the church said. Tiles on the cube are still smoldering, casting the framework in a soft glow. Fluorescent play and print keys shine on the keyboard. The filament slides out of its glowing nest. This old fireplace is covered in lines drawn in blue and red marker, the mesh spreading over the stone like blood vessels on alabaster skin. It looks ghostly and strangely ancient. The whole thing resembles Cadran mosaic tiles, very pedantic. History classes, students with their textbooks open, studying the roots of our civilization. Those aquarelle blue tiles looked beautiful in the sun. Radio frequencies, it seems. UKV 123.6, UKV 123.7, UKV 123.9. Some written notes, too. Sparse and cryptic. Unclear. It looks like a cardiovascular system split into veins and capillaries. Very advanced. You think so? The web is comprised of radio stations, all lead back to one red heart, titled the Game Master Frequency. A note says, this one can listen in on any station it wants. They must have had massive airwidth. These things don't come cheap. Someone very important. The leader of a massive on-air game built by these people. A conductor for the hundreds of story threads that pass through the Game Master's frequency. Whoever decides to call in to a call-in station, it looks like. All of this is gone, left unrealized. Nothing. It's just lines on marble. An echo from times long gone. No one has used the fireplace in ages. You see a terrifying ice bear with a strange compartment in its belly. The door is covered in frost and the bear's eyes are glowing red. This must be the giant ice bear fridge that Suna mentioned. Look inside. A few bricks have fallen off, revealing a compartment behind the wall. It's too dark to see in. There is. Inside, it's nothing but gloomy blackness. Better not stick your hand inside. Your hand reaches deep into darkness and spider webs, rummaging around. You find a number of rusty rifles hidden away. Most of them are ugly and inoperable, but a single rifle catches your eye. It's a bolt action with a fine wood stock. A fit service weapon for a fit officer. Too bad it doesn't work. It looks like it's been out of order for years. Inside, a secret room infested with rats, spiders, and woodlice. Seems like an old weapons cache from the Revolutionary period. It means there are firearms, albeit inoperable, still lying around Martinez. This is an interesting coincidence. Could prove useful in some way. You don't know how yet, but it might be useful down the road. Two cables are plugged into the breaker box. The red one leads off into the darkness, and the black one to the ice cream maker nearby. Something close to you dies with a soft electric purr. thick layer of coal dust covers the furnace, coloring it pitch black. It's dark and grimy here. In the darkness you can hear chatter. It's coming from above. A voice or several voices talking to each other. Near the smoke chamber, upstairs. Maybe it's coming from somewhere upstairs. You should investigate. Or maybe you're just hungover again. Something breaks loose in you. A mighty bellow echoes throughout the chimney's depths. The chatter of tiny voices above suddenly cease. Then,
hello? Hello? Did you say anything? I can't hear you. Please come upstairs. There's a safety curtain on the second floor. I'll open it.
you hear a low rumble upstairs. The sound of a curtain being pulled aside. A lush layer of coal now covers your skin, sinking into the wrinkles. Your hands look ancient. Maybe you could paint something with this coal. Leave a cave painting for future archaeologists. No, that would be stupid. Still, it's good to have this dirt on you. A hollow ring echoes through the furnace. Your toe hurts. You see, this must be the giant ice bear fridge. A gust of freezing cold air rushes to greet you. You hear a low grumble as the bear regulates itself. This is the inside of a refrigerator. The shelves are empty. All you see are crumpled ice cream wrappers with the brand name, Revachol Ice City. A handwritten note has been attached to the door. The fridge is huge. But where's the filament memory? It's not here. You pocket the note and the little fridge magnets keeping it on the door. A friendly cartoon bear smiles back at you from a glossy cellophane wrapper. It looks nothing like the fridge. A friendly cartoon bear smiles back at you from a glossy cellophane wrapper. It looks nothing like the fridge. The note is written with a blue pencil on a piece of lined office paper. The kitchen magnets have left spots on its surface. Someone has scribbled, S. I can't believe the off-site copy is still here. The illiterate ginger kid keeps stealing stuff from the studio, so I had to hide it somewhere safe. You'll find the filament memory with the off-site copy in the frozen ice cream maker. Please take it home, ASAP. It's important. I'd do it myself if I lived in a civilized place with a freezer. Take care, Suliswaf. According to the note, someone named Sulislav. The note doesn't specify. It's part of a radio computer. When not in use, filaments are stored at temperatures below zero. It's like the production schedule you found. Only this one's an off-site copy. The note does not specify. Are you serious? You sure you don't want to hazard a guess here, Detective? Ding, ding, ding. We have a winner. Didn't you see one right next to the breaker box? This orange machine is dead still. It has a hand-cranked ice cream churner and an electric freezer. The ice around it slowly melting. Turning the crank feels oddly satisfying, like stirring your childhood dreams. In the distance, you hear water dripping. You slip your fingers under the frozen lid, but the ice is too cold for you to get a good grip. A pry bar would come in handy here, or something stronger, like the Kvalsund KR2 multi-tool. You need to have the Kvalsund KR2 multi-tool in your hand, Detective.
Equip the multi-tool by going to the Tools tab in your inventory. From there, you can equip it to a held slot.
This orange machine is dead still. It has a hand-cranked ice cream churner. This orange machine is dead still. It has a hand-cranked ice cream churner and an electric freezer. The ice around it slowly melting. Ice squeaks beneath your Kvalsund multi-tool, but your fingers slip away from the tool. The lid shutters tightly as before. This orange machine is dead still. It has a hand-cranked ice cream churner and an electric. Ice squeaks beneath your Kvalsund. This orange machine is dead still. It has a hand-cranked ice cream churner. Ice squeaks beneath your Kvalsund. This orange machine is dead still. It has a hand-cranked ice groans and howls under the strain of your giant Kvalsund multi-tool until the lid cracks open. Darkness lies inside, but you can faintly make out an object, intricate and foreign, left there for a sub-zero beauty sleep, a filament memory with the words "off-site copy" written on its side. Disappointment washes over you as you stare into the almost empty ice cream maker. Your stomach grumbles. The fridge is cold, the cellar dark and humid. You gently lift the cube from its frosty bedding, careful not to damage it. Yes, but aren't you curious to know what's on the precious filament? There's a... Only the red cable is plugged in. Somewhere, a machine hums along with the current. A thick layer of cold. It's dark and grimy here. Maybe it's come, or maybe you're just hungover again. It's dark and grimy here. In the darkness you can hear chatter. It's coming from above. A voice or several, maybe it's coming from somewhere upstairs. You should investigate. Or maybe you're just hungover again. It's dark and grimy here. Maybe it's coming from somewhere. Or maybe you're just hungover. It's dark and or maybe you're just hungover again. Tiles on the cube are still smoldering. Casting the framework like a smooth draw, the filament slides into place. On the keyboard, the play key starts blinking. The speaker comes to life. Static seeps through the machine's planar magnetic driver. An old lady greets you. Her voice sounds 100 years old.
Good afternoon. Fortress accident en rue de Saint-Ghislaine. This is East Insulindian Repeater Station 1. Please repeat. Is this the offsite copy? Good. Please repeat the password. No, that's not it.
Maybe it's the second part of the leitmotif you saw on the stained glass window.
Good. I've unlocked the offsite copy. After ending the call, please press print to access the filament.
Ka-ching.
Fortress accident. Is there anything else I can do for you today? Thank you, and...
Tiles on the cube are still smoldering. It sounds like something cracks before the piece of paper starts filling up with pure black ink. Something's broken. Machines aren't supposed to behave like this. The paper is soaked with ink. Its monochrome darkness spanning from margin to margin. It's not possible to make out any information. It's just black upon black. Enough tiles on the cube are still smoldering. It sounds like something cracks. Something's broken. The paper is soaked with ink. Its monochrome darkness spanning from margin. Tiles on the cube are still smoldering. It sounds like something cracks. Something's broken. Machines aren't. Tiles on the cube are still smoldering. Casting the framework, the filament slides out of its glowing nest. Like a smooth draw, the filament slides. Nothing happens. Nothing happens. The speaker comes.
Good after. Please repeat. Is good. Good.
Ka-ching.
Fortress accident. Is there anything? Thank.
Tiles on the cube are. It sounds like something cracked. Something's broken. Machines aren't supposed. The paper is soaked with ink. Tiles on the cube are still smoldering, casting the framework in a soft glow. Fluorescent play and print keys shine. The filament, it's empty. The filaments, it's empty. The filaments you have would fit perfectly inside the compartment.
Hello, I'm Nia. Did you try knocking on my window? I must have missed you. I've been listening to my Milius. So what kind of die are you looking for?
She's got a direct view to the backyard. You should interrogate her about the Elysium.
Yes, Amelia is like a call-in station. You need a two-way radio to access one. That's why I have these. Mostly, they just teach you to swear in different languages. But some of the stations can be quite interesting. I was so absorbed, I must have missed you knocking. Then how did you get inside? By the south entrance? You know what? It doesn't even matter. What matters is that you're finally here. Let's talk dice. Did you have something specific in mind? I'm a novelty dice maker. Tell me the name of your role-playing system and I'll make the die you need. That's why you're here, yes?
As she speaks, her bone-like fingers fiddle with a ring. Her bones light, but her hands strong.
Very good. My rate is 10 real per set, unless you want something really unusual. Take a look around and see if there is any particular stone you want to use.
It almost looks as if the stones and dice are a natural part of the room, growing out of the shells like stalagmites. This person means you, or no one else, absolutely no harm. She will answer freely and honestly. No falsehoods are present. She's a novelty dice maker and doesn't have anything to hide. Ask what you need.
How did I become one? It was a business decision. I was a regular jeweler at first, but that's an unfocused field with too much competition. Some of my friends were role players. They asked me to make some polyhedral dice out of cobalt. That was my first order. I grew it from there. Not especially. I like working with rare materials and a steady pay. And role players as customers, they're nice people.
Some of those nice people have big bucks to spend on novelty items. She's thankful for the security they provide her.
Nothing really. I didn't know him. I'm sorry, detective, but as you know, I usually have my headphones on when I'm working. It shuts out most of the daily ruckus behind my window. Well, there's always something going on in the Whirling's backyard. During daytime, there are usually those kids. And lately, I've been seeing a lot of drunk workers hanging about. Must be because of the strike.
She's heard of the murder, but did not see it, sire. She's not sorry to disappoint you. Informing on someone in a murder investigation would intrude upon her focused existence.
But I never saw anyone during that fateful Sunday night, I'm afraid. I might have, but in this case, all I would have seen is my own reflection staring back from the darkness. It's really hard to make anything out in the yard when it's dark outside. Besides, I rarely get up to look out the window when I'm in the zone. It's an odd profession, making dice for people, but I like it, and I prefer doing this to sitting at home.
She nods.
Anything else, officer? We're inside the chimney of an old central furnace. It's strange, I know. But when I arrived here, all the other rooms were taken, so I had to build myself a makeshift home, Besides, I don't really have to pay any rent here, so that's a plus.
Does it mean she's unlawfully occupying a part of the house? Shameful.
I've heard the stories, but I don't think those stories are true. It's just capitalism. We only hear about tales of success, so it's often surprising to realize how many ventures actually fail. Plaisance, the bookshop lady? I've heard that her business is doing rather well. Have the energies spared her somehow? Oh, right. But it's not just the bookstore that's still up and running. What about the whirling in rags? Some people say it's part of the building complex. You could say so. Both houses were built at the same time and under the east of the Commerce Central project. And then there is me. I've been here for 14 years, selling novelty dice to role-playing enthusiasts. Not exactly a million-real business idea, yet somehow I've survived despite the talk of malicious energies. Strange, isn't it?
Maybe it's just because she's so talented that she's been able to woo the curse.
I was just about to ask, what do you think? Do you think the curse is real? Exactly. Truth is always so disappointingly mundane and boring. But I'm glad we got this sorted out. Anything else I can help you with today?
That's all she has to say on the subject. She's been thorough and truthful as far as we can see. Plaisance is not going to like what you have to tell her.
More or less. Are you interested in anyone specific? Yes, I think it was called Androgynous Orlando or something similar. They weren't a big hit around here. Turns out that working class men don't like genderless haircuts. They're scared of that word.
You wouldn't like it either. The others would laugh at you. A bit of experimenting every now and then isn't bad.
I guess it just wasn't the time yet. It wasn't merely a gym, it was Artemitep's Boxing Club, a community project created to steer at-risk youth away from drugs and crime. A kind man from Zemsk. I heard he had some trouble with the law when he was younger, and that's why he wanted to start the gym, as his way of giving back. Kuno. Who's Kuno? Oh yes, you mean the kid with the sailor's mouth. Yes, I've heard him yelling profanities in the backyard. I think it would take more than a gym to help that kid. It didn't. If anything, it made the youth situation in Martinez even worse. At some point, someone started a rumor that the punching bag downstairs was full of amphetamines.
You should have known it.
Eventually, the coalition took away the funding and the club went bankrupt. This was a few years ago. It's gotten much more peaceful around the plaza ever since. Oh, this one's a mess. There used to be a company that promised to repair windows 24 hours a day. What could go wrong with this one, right? Turns out, the business was actually set up as a front for an illicit group that was producing snuff milias. Who would have guessed?
What's a snuff milieu?
And they never cleaned up the debris either. Now it's just littering the hallway and I have no idea how to get rid of it on my own. It's a sub-Rosa radio station that broadcasts real murders with real victims. Some people pay good money to get off on it.
Nothing changes in her tone as she says that, as if it's just another piece of information to lay out for the world. What does she mean to get off on it?
I believe the ICP got them. They have a special division that deals exclusively with sub-Rosas.
It's the Copperpedia reporting in. ICP stands for International Collaboration Police.
In any case, I don't think it's your job to worry about what happens on milias. I probably shouldn't have even mentioned it. Things like that are better forgotten. You mean Mr. Fabron, the taxidermist? No, he mostly just did drugs.
But what drugs exactly?
He got high on some weird taxidermy chemicals. I wouldn't recommend it to anyone. Eventually, they caused him to lose control of his bladder. The smell was awful.
Even you can probably do better than that. You can almost see it. A small, sickly old man, hunched behind his work desk, his pants stained with old piss, stuffing a sad, stiff-legged raccoon dog. The entire scene looks tragic.
There used to be a fashion atelier here, but I have forgotten the head designer's name. They were doing well for a couple of years, until the insect rights activists came. The atelier produced a certain collection that used chitin among the materials. Apparently chitin is made in the Occident, where it's extracted from beetle wings. And you know how all kinds of political movements are big in the Occident. The activists shut down the biggest chitin supplier, which of course caused the price to skyrocket. And, naturally, all the most fashionable tastemakers refused to be seen in chitin from then on. The atelier went bankrupt before they could finish the collection. Really? Anyway.
Poor guy. Suddenly, you get a feeling that insects are important to the case somehow. It's hard to say why.
They were made by a company called Slipstream. After they pivoted from making rotor blades to skis, their chief executive took off on a vacation with all their money. Honestly, I think it's quite funny. I think he's still sending out holiday transmissions from Tulula or Tiumotiri or Hashtkor or wherever he is. Sure, it's illegal, but it's not exactly anything extraordinary in business. Besides, Slipstream is history now. All their remaining assets got seized by the bailiffs in 47. I have no idea why those skis and blades are still lying around.
Maybe you could make a sword out of one. No, wait, forget it. It would take too long.
Fortress Accident, the radio game studio.
She liked them.
They were an interesting bunch. We talked about role-playing systems every now and then. Once, I even saw two of them get into fisticuffs over Wirral. They certainly took their work very seriously, even if they seemed to be chronically liberal with their schedules. Money and time, the usual. Well, I did hear them talking at times. They seemed to believe they were historical individuals on some grand quest.
She sounds almost mocking when she says that.
Yes, but when the money started to run out, they just began to complain a lot about capitalism. You know how the markets are rigged to keep out new businesses and so on. In the end, they just didn't get it done. They didn't have enough willpower to produce something truly historic and to show up to work on time.
She's right. Showing up to work on time is important. Showing up to work on time is hard. No, scratch that. Showing up to work at all is difficult, especially if you've been drinking.
Still, not everyone is going to make it. That's the nature of the game. Anything else? Oh boy, the fabled Revo ICT. You're in for a treat here. The place was owned by two guys who had some rather innovative ideas about marketing. The bear was one of them. Now ask me about their other ideas.
Indeed. What were the other ideas?
There was really just one, and it involved picking out the prettiest girls in the neighborhood and paying them 20 cents per hour to man the booth. And by man the booth, I mean slump behind the counter with a face that could maim you if you ever dared to disturb their bored magazine browsing.
Sounds like she really didn't like those girls. Fritta does the same thing.
Employing silky teenage girls is a widespread practice, yes. Unfortunately, they always come in packs. I'm talking about acne-ridden girlfriends and gorilla-like boyfriends loitering near the shop. At least that's what happened with Ravashow ICT. And they already had the bear. The bear. Of course not. The bear was terrifying. No one wants ice cream guarded by a hostile apex predator. To make matters worse, the fridge didn't work too well either, and half the ice cream came out malformed and partially melted. Eventually, Ravashow ICT lost the price war to its rival, Glace 5000. Glace 5000 sold caramel sundaes for only 5 cents a piece, out of regular fridges. Maybe, because the taxidermist who made that bear definitely wasn't doing it. He said that the bear was his vision beast. He said he met his vision beast while high on desiccants. Called it Megatherion.
Sounds cool.
It's an imaginary beast that guides you through life. By telling you to do more drugs, mostly.
Maybe this wise and noble beast can guide you toward those amphetamines you've been craving.
Understandable. You shouldn't do them. You're a police officer after all. Anyway, now you know the story of the fallen ice cream empire.
Outside it's light. Light scatters from the low-hanging cloud cover. There's always the threat of snow.
Anything else? Another failed business, perhaps? I've been here for a long time. Oh, right. I hope you didn't try to ring me. I think none of those doorbells work, including mine. I'm still in the middle of connecting the wires. Sorry about the confusion. The one with an empty name card. It's the last one in the list. As I said, it's quite useless right now. It doesn't work yet. You could say so. Both houses were built at the same time and under the East Delta Commerce Center project. That explains why you can call the whirling from the intercom, albeit I doubt that anyone responds.
If the whirling is part of the same building, then it's part of the Dune commercial area. The darkness of this place is there, too.
Sure, I'm listening. I'm pretty sure, I'm listening. Good. I hope it clarified things a bit. What else? Oh, it's you again. Are you looking for a die? Oh, it's you again. Are you looking for a die?
You feel nothing. If anything, it's uncomfortably warm in here. She has begun to idly clean one of her carved. Looks like someone tried to reconceptualize their business here. Look, the skis and rotor blades both bear the same slipstream logo. It seems likely that they started out making one, failed to turn a profit, and then pivoted to producing the other. That's a good question. Reality is ruthless.
You're alive and well. Don't keep me waiting now. What's in there? In that dark sarcophagus? Yes, yes. How was it?
Tell her how ghastly it was. You know it's what she wants to hear.
But what else did you find? Did anything survive? No, of course not. Have you located the entity? A novelty dice maker? Well, spit it out. Why does she need the dice? For some kind of sorcery? Sometimes they use the ankle bones of sheep. I don't understand. If it's not her, then where is the source of the doom? How did she explain the curse?
Just don't say you don't have any answer yet. To hell with it. Perchance you ought to just lie, sire.
Wait, what? The entire economic system is cursed?
This is a lot for her to pass.
Precarious world? Economy? I understand what's going on here. You went in there, rummaged around, and accomplished nothing. And now you're telling me these intellectual... It's okay. You don't have to. I was wrong to trust another person. I will manage this psychic calamity as I always have. Alone. Thank you for nothing. Please, do buy some books, or be on your way.
Wow. Total psychic collapse between you two right now. There was never any other way this could have gone. She's just too far gone into her own mind. A small mountain of colorful board game boxes. There are numerous types of games for all ages. A lot of shelf space seems to be taken up by Wirral-related.
Wonderful choice, sir. A wholesome family game.
The display rack. This is entirely, completely you. You have found the right books.
Oh yes, certainly.